There was recently a little backstage incident on Raw, so we'll see what's new there. We'll also check out what's going on with Bayley, the Judgment Day, and more. Let's start things off with this little backstage incident from the July 10th edition of Monday Night Raw. The main event of the night was Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins versus the Judgment Day in a 6-man tag team match. Some fans did take note of some pretty big mistakes and botches in the match. But apparently, even more things didn't go according to plan there during that Raw main event match. The frustration between all 6 men reportedly carried over into the backstage area after the show, and allegedly a little argument and dispute broke out. Although some platforms and some fans are calling it a backstage fight, reports claim that it never got physical, and there was never any indication of things even going down a physical route. The argument was reportedly coming from a good place, from a place of passion and pride, from the part of the competitors. Some of the superstars involved in that Raw main event match reportedly just didn't like how sloppy and unorganized certain parts of the match came out to be. That's what led to them passionately taking everything out amongst each other. In an update to the story, PW Insider reports that part of the potential reason for this frustration and sloppiness in the match could have been due to last-second rewrites. They claim that Raw and that main event match was being rewritten and tweaked up until the very last second. So that could explain why there was a lot of miscommunication. But all the reports are claiming that it was not a big issue at all. It was just a little dispute that was quickly resolved once everyone said their piece. In other WWE and locker room news, reports also claim that WWE is putting up some all-time great numbers for when it comes to their merchandise. Current day WWE merchandise is reportedly selling at a much higher rate than the peak of the Attitude Era, which is just a pretty insane stat to hear. A lot of fans still look at the Attitude Era as the peak of WWE's existence from a product perspective, a talent perspective, and so on. So the fact that the current locker room is outselling that high point in WWE history from a merchandise perspective is extremely impressive. So hopefully more great things keep piling up. Now let's get into a small update for Bayley and Iyo Sky storyline. So tension between Damage Control has been something that WWE has been teasing since April. And after 4 months of that tension within the group, and especially between Bayley and Iyo, many fans thought that Money in the Bank would have been the last straw for the group. Money in the Bank, of course, featured that big moment of Iyo handcuffing her Damage Control leader, Bayley, to Becky Lynch and climbing over her in that ladder to secure the Money in the Bank contract for herself. So after Iyo pulled that stunt off, everyone figured that the moment must have been the end for the group. But no, Bayley appeared with Iyo Sky at the Money in the Bank press conference and has still been standing by Iyo's side ever since. There wasn't much of an update to Bayley and Iyo's story from the July 7th edition of Smackdown, besides a rush segment between some superstars in the Smackdown women's division. But that short segment still gave us something to talk about. In the very quick madness of Charlotte, Bianca, and Asuka all fighting with each other, Bayley and Iyo Sky made a quick appearance to try and attempt to cash in the Money in the Bank contract on Asuka right in the middle of chaos. They didn't pull off the cash-in, but that moment is still pretty important to note. It may not last forever, but for the time being, Bayley appears to actually be supportive of Iyo Sky and was trying to legitimately assist Iyo in cashing in the Money in the Bank contract during that July 7th Smackdown segment. Bayley didn't intentionally try to sabotage Iyo's cash-in or have any alternative agendas. She legitimately looked like she was helping Iyo cash in as best as she could. So that's just very interesting to note. And if Bayley and Iyo stay on the same page together as a unit, that makes Iyo a very scary threat to any champion as Miss Money in the Bank. The Money in the Bank contract holder is already dangerous on their own, with that 24/7 contract in their possession. But add in the fact that the contract holder has someone else by their side assisting them in setting up a cash-in, and that really makes that contract holder an even larger threat. So as long as Bayley's jealousy doesn't get in the way and separates herself from Iyo, Iyo's chances of having a successful cash-in is through the roof, since she has Bayley by her side setting things up. But then again, at the same time, Bayley could also turn out to be an obstacle for Iyo Sky. Sure, Bayley appears to be wanting to help Iyo right now, but if Bayley reverts back to her normal selfish self, that blessing of having Bayley by her side instantly flips into being a curse. Bayley's character is very capable of being sneaky and hiding her agendas. So, what if Bayley helps Iyo Sky set up a cash-in, but sabotages it moments later? That definitely seems like something that is the realm of possibility, knowing Bayley's character. And maybe a moment like that would really put the audience on Iyo's side even more, and that could possibly be a babyface turn for Iyo. So it's just a very interesting situation to keep an eye on, because it would appear that Bayley could end up playing a huge role in Iyo's cash-in, either for the best or for the worst. Iyo has teased her cash-in on both champions so far, but a lot of fans believe that Iyo will cash in on the WWE Women's Championship, the title that belongs to Smackdown, and a majority of the women's Money in the Bank contract holders in years past have all cashed in pretty quickly. So if that trend continues from WWE, maybe it won't be that long until Iyo is cashing in her Money in the Bank contract. Let's get into the latest for the Judgment Day and Seth Rollins. The Judgment Day has had a long stretch there in the weeks leading up to Money in the Bank, and in the weeks that followed that event, of just not wanting to be on the same page with each other. Well, on the July 10th edition of Raw, Judgment Day was able to flip the script and get back on track with each other. Finn Balor and Damian Priest appear to have squashed their issues, and the Judgment Day even went on to win the main event of Raw, further proving that they're united again and as better as ever. They even followed that up with another successful appearance the following night on NXT. So although things seem to be resolved and they're united again, it appears that the newly found unity could end up being short-lived after all. Seth Rollins still needs a Summerslam opponent, and no one is really built up on Raw right now to take on Seth Rollins besides Finn Balor. So fans assume that Finn Balor and Seth Rollins will meet again at SummerSlam, and as a result of that rematch taking place, tension between Finn and Damian will rise again because of that Money in the Bank contract lurking in the background. A lot of fans seem to really like the idea of Finn finally defeating Seth, only to be cashed in on by Damian Priest, and officially tearing the Judgment Day apart. And that very well could be one of the endgames for this story. WWE clearly placed the Money in the Bank on Damian Priest because they definitely have plans to have the contract cause tension amongst the group in some way. So they're definitely up to something there with Finn, Damian, and the contract. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.